All right, so I want to change gears a little bit because I'm listening to Aaron Rodgers as I'm driving back from getting swole at the gym, and I hear Aaron Rodgers talk about his 4 days sabbatical, and I'm just like to the point where I'm annoyed with him. I just don't want to hear it anymore. And Dak Prescott, when his contract situation was up, got to the point, and that I just didn't want to hear about it. So I ask you, from a Tennessee fan perspective or your perspective, Josh, and then I'll get Caleb's thoughts on this. What is the most annoying Vol of all time? And mine are weird because I covered these guys. So I've got one that's going to surprise you out of the basketball world, but just kind of annoying. You think just rub Tennessee fans the wrong way.
So I might be stepping on toes here. If I do, I apologize. But
It's Caleb, isn't it? It's Caleb.
yeah, that's right. Hendon Hooker. No, that's not Hendon
That's
Hooker.
right. I couldn't
Man, just
stand that dude.
yeah, so
Josh
tired of.
Heupel, man.
Yeah. Just enough already, right? So the name that came to mind, and I had some others that popped up, and I still came back to this guy, who I think is actually underrated as a player, but it's Arian Foster. And it goes back to the pterodactyl thing. He and I were at Tennessee at the same time. I actually think more recently he's kind of pivoted a little bit, like the script thing that he did, where he had everybody caught off guard and you had all these memes and all that stuff. I thought that was pretty funny and really clever. But at Tennessee, presenting himself often as a deep thinker more than others. I think he has creative ability. I think he's done some pretty good music. He was doing that at Tennessee, and he's produced more since he played in the NFL. But the whole pterodactyl thing and the way some of the things went on at Tennessee, and then afterward coming back and talking about the tacos and all that stuff, I would have to go Arian Foster. Underrated as a player, but I think went over the top a little bit during his time as a player.
Yeah, that relationship soured when the New Sentinel decided to put the headline "Fumbling Foster" over an article I wrote that illustrated that he didn't fumble that much. But anyway, Caleb, who's your most annoying?
I actually agree with Josh Ward a lot about Aaron Foster. I think I remember his mom getting on message boards and defending him a lot.
Foster mom.
Yes. Mine was Tyler Bray. I've just always felt I've never seen a quarterback with worse intangibles. And I know in 2012 he was dealing with a horrible defense, but there were still like 3 games that year where Tennessee had a last drive to either tie or win, and all those games they were giving up points. And you never trusted Tyler Bray, the leader.
Does anybody believe the rumor that he wanted to lose that last regular season game so that Tennessee wouldn't make a bowl game? Help me, Josh. You were closer to the program at that time than I was, but wasn't that a rumor floating around?
Yeah, that was that they didn't want to go play in a bowl game. I viewed it as they didn't mind if they didn't go. Like it wasn't that big of a deal with that Kentucky game. And at that time, the winning streak was still alive. Tyler has since come out, I think it was just a few months ago on Twitter, and he made some comments that I don't recall ever hearing about how ill he was leading up to the game.
Oh.
But yeah, it wasn't just Tyler. There was some talk about Aaron Rodgers not necessarily being into the game. I mean, look at the result. Look at how they played. It was a truly pathetic performance. But the reasons for choosing Tyler, who has since seemed to mature, and he actually became like a camp guy. He's a guy you want in camp, and he's not just an extra arm, but he's a guy that you want in meeting rooms. Was really respected by Andy Reid and then Matt Nagy with the Chicago Bears, who had worked under Reid. So it's funny what he transitioned to, from a big arm talent guy to a guy that you want around the other quarterbacks to help them. But at Tennessee, his junior season, which was his last year, remember he said, I'm not watching the film of that Florida game. And my thought was, you probably want to starting quarterback after a disappointing loss against a rival. So he was not helped by Derek Dooley being his head coach. That'll be my defensive Tyler there. But I understand why he's the choice for sure.
And Kelly Washington always gets a vote in this discussion. I still say against LSU, he went around and patted every offensive lineman on the head once he got called out. And then the neck injury happened. I think he got a bad rap. Am I alone among this trio in thinking that Kelly Washington got a bad rap?
I'm not on your side.
I'm not on your side either, Dave.
Yeah, the whole Dante thing. Is a
Okay, that was a jerky move. Talking Dante into going and taking care of his family, going to the NFL. For those that don't know, how'd that turn out, Josh?
Yeah, well, Dante went on and he got a lot of money to take care of his family, and Kelly said, "Nope, I'm going to stay at Tennessee." Good luck, Dante, who for a time changed his mind, wanted to come back, and then ultimately went on to the NFL after challenging that process. So, yeah, I can't go with you there. Although you probably remember this, while he was dealing with number stuff and injury issues, that was a time where you could just walk up and interview players, and UT was going to let you do it. And I went and found him and did an interview with him after practice and asked him some pretty tough questions, and he answered them. So from that standpoint, I always respected Kelly. But the whole future bit, that probably went a little bit too far.
I would just argue there were 3 guys that were worse cancers on that team than him, and I'm not going to name them and throw them under the bus, but I think I thought it was a little bit overplayed. But the Dante thing, you're right. I'll tell you something funny about the Dante thing, Josh. I know you got to get out of here. I don't think I've ever shared this with you. I went on spring break and walked in there, and one guy was surrounded by a bunch of, the kids call them ladies. And it was Kelly Washington. And this is in Destin, Florida. And he looks at me like, what the H? Are you following me to cover me? I'm like, Kelly, let's just agree that I never saw you here and you never saw me. And let's just move forward. I don't know when he left, but I left at about 4:30 a.m.
Well, it's also kind of an abnormal time. He's a baseball player coming back, so he's older than everybody, right? And he's physically built like an NFL guy, and he did go on to play in the NFL. Didn't have a huge impact as a receiver, but was able to play for several years, was a special teams guy. But here's what also hurts in that argument is who doesn't love Dante? I thought I enjoyed Dante when he was at Tennessee, fan of him after he left, and he continues to stay connected to Tennessee. I'm not aware that Kelly has. So if that there ended up being a take a side situation there, Kelly or Dante, and I don't know anybody that took Kelly's side. So maybe misunderstood a little bit, but not that much.
There was also do y'all remember that Tennessee, Florida, like rain-soaked monsoon game when all the fumbles happened, and Kelly Washington caught a lot of passes in like garbage time towards the end, and he had to do a little celebration or dance every time he called a pass. It's like, bro, you're down 30-13 right now. Like, dial it back.
That's when we got the box full of footballs. Do you remember that? They were debuting the new football, which turned out to be slick as glass when it rained. And I reached out to Wilson. I said we could give some away. And on the air, I think we got 12 footballs valued at like $80 a piece. And I think 2 actually made it on the air. The rest went to my family and friends, including you. You don't have that football, though. I can tell by the lost look on your face.
Yeah, I don't recall that exactly, but maybe I had it and it slipped out of my hands and I wasn't able to recover it.
Josh,
and it was lost forever. That was probably the issue.
Josh's internship was paid in sporting goods back in the day.
Yeah, well, for a period of time, it was an illegal internship. I don't even think I was allowed to be there by work law standards, but the statute of limitations is also up, so that's fine now.
Yes, we violated child labor laws in that regard, but you got credit. All right, Josh, keep it up on the Sports Animal. Follow him at Josh_Ward, not at Josh Ward. That's a country singer, at Josh_Ward. And buddy, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
I still get messages all the time. People telling me how much they enjoy my music and enjoyed my show, and sometimes inviting me to come play shows down in the state of Texas. So one day I'm going to show up and I'm going to be ready to play. I
love the version you did of Jolene.
Well, when I show up, I'm going to be doing an entire cover set of the late Joe Diffie's music. So they better be ready.
I love Joe Diffie too. Great reference. Thank you, Josh.